This video is brought to you by Patreon. By signing up on the Phat Pack Magic Patreon, you get early access to all content, as well as grab bags of valuable cards and amazing mats exclusive to patrons. You can help keep coverage for Paper Magic alive by showing your support on the Phat Pack Magic Patreon today.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Phat Pack Magic. We're here at Darkside for their FNM Pioneer event, and this is round 3, the semifinals. The winner of this match will go on to the final round, where there's just under $100 of store credit ready and waiting for the winner of that match. Now, Rob Pisano is on the right with the White Devotion, and on the left is Kevin Tone, the previous FNM Champion, playing Blue Devotion, and he's got one heck of a start with a ley line of anticipation. Rob Pisano is not perturbed though. He plays out a Thraben Inspector, a nice little 1/2 creature that's going to make a clue token. And this is important for the mono white deck because it needs all the ways to generate card advantage it can. And wow, that's painful. Kevin has stumbled on a land. He's got one land and a ley line of anticipation, and now at 19 life as Rob Pisano passes the turn back. Kevin ends his turn, and again, no land as Rob draws a card and draws for turn. He smells blood in the water. This is his chance to really get in there, and he's gonna get in there for one. But here's a Boros Reckoner. That's a nice, respectable 3/3 that's going to do some damage. And, man, Kevin's draw is... Kevin is on a bad draw here, man. Stuck at one land for 3 turns, discarding down to hand size as Rob crashes in for 4 damage, bringing Kevin down to 14. And now, Rob is lining up his next series of plays. There's a Nykthos. So, I mean, oh wow, this is just tough to watch right now. Kevin showing his glut full of cards and no way to cast them. So here's another Thraben Inspector for Rob, and it looks like he's going to flood that mana into Nykthos, generating 5 white, and there's a Knight of the White Orchid, and a Heliod for good measure. As he passes the turn back to Kevin, he's looking to clear out this game early, quick, and easy. And Kevin scoops it up. There's not really much you can do when you're just really bricked on lands, unfortunately. Kevin might have had a good opener, and with that ley line of anticipation, it might have been really tempting. But sometimes you just gotta mold those one-landers. And we are gonna skip ahead just for a little bit and go on to Game 2. Now here we go on to Game 2. Both players have drawn up their opening hands, and it looks like they're almost good to go. Kevin deciding he's going to be on the play, and it looks like he does have a land for turn, but no line of anticipation, unfortunately. But I think a land is just as good. And, oh, here we go. Kevin has another land. He is officially in the game. So Rob Pisano is starting off the play with a Walking Ballista at 1 counter before passing back to Kevin. Kevin trying to decide if he wants to make an end of turn play. And looks like we've got a Merfolk Trickster coming in. It's going to tap the Walking Ballista and make it lose all of its abilities, which is okay. It's still a 1/1. And I mean, it's not anything special at the moment, but it's still Kevin being able to get in there for 2 damage, bringing Rob down to 18. And oh man, Kevin has missed a land drop again. This is really rough. He needs like a Nykthos or some kind of way to generate a bit more mana so he can start going off with those Gadwick and drawing a ton of cards. However, Rob has a really interesting card, and that's Anafenza, the Kintree Spirit. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, then she can bolster 1, which puts a +1/+1 counter. Never mind, it doesn't matter because Wizard's Retort is going to counter that and prevent the Walking Ballista from gaining any more 1/1 counters. But it's still going to swing in, dealing 1 damage to Kevin and bringing him down to 19. But Kevin's in a really tricky situation here. He's missing another land drop. Although the Trickster is swinging in, it may not be enough as Rob is able to develop his board with more lands and more mana. And an Idyllic Grange comes down, and that's going to trigger and give the Walking Ballista a +1/+1 counter. Now, here's something interesting. A Brazen Borrower is going to bounce the Walking Ballista in response. Now, Rob can either take the Walking Ballista back into his hand but it looks like he's considering killing off the Merfolk Trickster and preventing the... That's what he's going to do. So he kills off the Merfolk Trickster by adding a +1/+1 counter to the Walking Ballista, and then because the Walking Ballista is no longer a valid target, the Brazen Borrower just fizzles and goes to the graveyard. And Kevin, finally drawing his third land, deploys a Thassa, which is going to be able to let him scry one, which means that he'll be able to get more drops, more land drops. But Rob's got the follow-up. It's an Arcanist Owl, which is going to find another Arcanist Owl from the top of his library, and he deploys a Nykthos, meaning that Owl is going to generate 4 mana for him on the next turn. Kevin scries to the bottom, and there's his land. He must have been hiding from him for so long. Looks like he was trying to decide on what he wants to do. I mean, unfortunately, Thassa doesn't really have much devotion going for her. She's got 1, and that's not good. But, oh, here's something interesting. Domestication. So that's going to steal the Arcanist Owl, and that's going to give Thassa the devotion she needs, and Kevin is going to be able to crash in for 5 damage. And now Rob needs to figure out a way to deal with that Thassa, because she's indestructible. He's got 2 mana going, so he must have something in mind. And, well, she's indestructible, but she's not unexilable, and Baffling End conveniently hits Thassa. But now Rob has to deal with a 3/3 flyer. Or maybe? And Stasis Snare is going to come down and exile the... Wow. Stasis Snare is going to come down and exile the Arcanist Owl. Domestication falls off. And, I mean, Rob's had to spend 2 cards getting rid of 1, but he still drew 1 with the Arcanist Owl. However, there's a Gadwick, and it's going to draw 1 card for Kevin, but it's still a 3/3 dude on the field, and just being able to replace itself might be enough. However, Kevin still seems down on lands. He could really use a Nykthos here. That would be amazing to be able to kind of deploy more threats and then pump out a really big Gadwick. Seems to be the only card he's missing from his field right now. So Rob deploys a Daxos, Blessed by the Sun, and this is going to fuel up Nykthos for 5 white mana. And here comes an Arcanist Owl, triggering the Daxos. So Rob's going to gain 1 life. And although I don't think that like life totals are a huge deal here, I think it's more just about board presence, because it's probably going to come down to a couple alpha swings. So Rob deciding on Walking Ballista, or more, well, Rob decided on Walking Ballista over more removal, and I think it makes sense because he probably just wants to be able to pump out a big fat Walking Ballista and deal a ton of damage. He probably doesn't even need to go infinite at this point. He can probably just swing in. Well, most of his creatures will be blocked by that Gadwick. And, there's the trigger for the Knight of the White Orchid being able to gain a life off the Daxos. I guess I forgot about that. I mean, if it comes down to 1 life, then that's a big blunder, but I don't think it's going to hit that here. So Thassa's Oracle is going to be able to scry for 5. And, I mean, this card is really, really interesting to me for the mono blue deck, for these blue devotion decks. I get that it can auto win, but I have never seen it really be an effective body on the field as a 1/3. And I mean, I guess just fuel for devotion still. But I feel like there's better creatures than Thassa's Oracle to put into this deck. But I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. Now, Gadwick has a little bit of a bonus ability that allows him to tap down a creature when a blue spell is played. So he's going to tap down the Arcanist Owl. I mean, this is late, but he's tapping down the Arcanist Owl. And Rob's swinging in with the Arcanist Owl. Kevin goes down to 16 as Rob begins his turn-ish. I mean, he started this. Man, I am a little bit backed up here. So, Rob, cashing in a ton of mana. So that's 2, 6, 8, 10, 11 mana for a Walking Ballista that's going to come down as a 5/5. So Rob has 1 mana floating. And I guess he's just going to put that extra mana into the Walking Ballista as well. I mean, I guess he was kind of playing around Wizard's Retort just in case. So Walking Ballista is now a 6/6 creature with a bunch of +1/+1 counters. The question is, here we go. He's killing off the Gadwick, and this is going to make room for his attackers on the next turn. And Kevin at 16 life, but that could quickly change if he doesn't get something juicy into play and start really dealing with Rob Pisano's overwhelming board. Looks like 3, 4, 5 mana coming down. Well, there's another Gadwick that's going to draw Kevin 2 cards, as well as put a 3/3 body on the field, and he'll be able to start blocking again. So he might keep Rob stuck on that Arcanist Owl position until Rob can get through. There's another land for Rob. He's counting up his devotion. So he's got 6, 7, 11 devotion for that Nykthos. But what does he have to do with it? Well, I mean, he could put a bunch of counters on that Walking Ballista. That is definitely a possibility. He could put 3 counters on the Walking Ballista and then kill off the Gadwick. And then start swinging in with the team. He could also try and be a little bit cute, because if Gadwick tries to block the Knight, then the Walking Ballista can shoot the Gadwick, and then first strike damage happens. It looks like Rob is trying to decide how Kevin is going to best block. He can't block the Arcanist Owl, so that's 3 damage. Oh! Rob has another Walking Ballista in hand, and here it comes down with a ton of counters. 11. He's got a lot of counters, basically. So Rob crashes in after killing off the Gadwick with the second Walking Ballista. He's crashing in for 3, 6, 8, 10 damage. And he's got super lethal on board if Kevin doesn't block anything, because the Walking Ballistas can just shoot him out of the game. So here comes a Thassa's Oracle, making the block. Kevin is going to take 5, 6, 7 damage, bring him down to 9. And then Walking Ballista is going to shoot off the last point of damage it needs to kill off that Thassa's Oracle. And Kevin offers the handshake, and the match win is going to go to Rob, taking this amazing match and using that Walking Ballista to just really get through that damage. And wow, mono white devotion playing off the back of that Walking Ballista. What a game. But that's going to be it for us here at Phat Pack Magic. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. Make sure you hit that notification bell, tap that subscribe button, and leave a like. Not just for me, but for my players too. And if you like behind the scenes kind of stuff, like Decklists and all kinds of stuff like that, check us out on Instagram. And if you like this content and you want to support us, come check us out at Patreon. We offer really cool stuff like Unstable Basic Lands, signed by me of course, and these exclusive, one-of-a-kind, amazing playmats, like the ones that you just saw in this video featuring the Mox Pearl. We've got more mats coming featuring the Power 9, and foil playmats coming soon as well. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and may all your packs be fat.